Good evening and welcome everyone to episode 4 of the regular season. As always, I am now joined by Anthony and Nate. Gentlemen, welcome to week 4. How are we doing? How was your weekend?
Weekend fun. Football was straightforward. I'm so glad my Dolphins is on a bye week again. So maybe they'll come out of their bye week nice and fresh. So yeah.
Wait, is that 2 bye weeks already?
Yeah, you didn't see the schedule? It's the first one that to have back-to-back bye weeks. So it's really nice. It's
Okay.
nice.
Okay. Nate, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great. I think there's been some highlights of some deep throws being passed around the sports verse. So my Sunday was highly enjoyable, and I just finished up like a 10-hour casting show today. So I'm just excited to calm things down, have a beer, and talk about the football.
Yeah, perfect. And my weekend was great. I did nothing but play New World. I am addicted to that game, and I'm not afraid to say it. I also watched a lot of football. I was actually playing New World, and I was talking to someone. I go, so who's Texas Tech going to lose to this week? And I was like, West Virginia, and then Texas Tech won on a last-minute field goal. So Texas Tech is 4-1 on the season, so that's awesome. At least
somebody won.
I got 2 good. I mean, we're not going to talk about them losing 70-35 to UT the week before, but they were on bye week, like Miami.
Thank you.
Nice.
See, bye weeks are very important. They're very, very important.
I'm just gonna throw it out when chat says, "Yeah, I've been in Lupo's ear all day screaming in New World. That's great." But we're gonna hop right in this. As always, we're gonna kick it off with fantasy football. Okay, before we get into what this first bullet point means, because I don't like, I'm looking at this, I don't even know what it means. Let's talk about the biggest surprise in fantasy football this year so far, which is Cordarrelle Patterson for the Atlanta Falcons. Cordarrelle Patterson's been kind of all over the league for the better part of a decade at this point. Kick returner, no one figured out how to use him as a receiver, but it looks like Atlanta might have figured it out. One of the top performing receiver running backs in the league. What are you guys thinking? Is he the real deal? Like, are you confident to start Cordarrelle Patterson as a receiver or running back or a flex next week?
He is the type of player that you will put him in your lineup next week, and he's gonna get you negative points.
Yeah.
I don't believe in him.
Cordarrelle Patterson is, it's the problem is that it's a too good to be true promise, and definitely this year's kind of been a shocker, but man, I picked him up the last 2 years in my biggest leagues, and it is signing yourself up for a very sad disappointment. I think Cordarrelle is tragically a player who's going to perform best when he's being played the least on fantasy.
Fair.
Yeah, he's great on your bench. He will lead your bench in scoring.
Not what I wanted to hear since I just put him in my starting lineup over Devontae Smith, but hey, it is what it is. Cordarrelle Patterson being one of the bigger stories coming out of this. I think the biggest story in fantasy football.
I'm down for that too. Let's go.
Fantasy football. It's like a last minute thing, but fantasy football. I am no longer undefeated in both my leagues. I took my first L because I forgot to take T. Higgins out of my lineup.
He did good.
Your sacrifice was worth it because I finally am no longer unvictorious. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little karma. You helping your friend out? I appreciate it.
Wait, hold on. That's not the full story. I'm still undefeated in the Rare Drop Sports League, though.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Josh Allen's going to take me to a championship. I'm riding those coattails every step of the way. If you have Josh Allen, never take him out of your lineup.
I heard he did pretty good.
Yeah, he did okay. See you this week. Yeah, I'm playing Moss Fan this week, who's a mod for Rare Drop Sports, so I'm kind of nervous. But Anthony's got a bullet point here that says Anthony heel turn. I don't know what to do. Take it away.
Let me paint you the picture of what happened. So I'm in this league for the last 10 plus years. It's a league that a lot of my old bosses from my old job in Virginia and everything. So we're friendly, we're competitive, and we're like showmanship. We play. We don't try to do like sneaky stuff on the waiver wire or whatnot. So I'm always about that. Now I am the defending champion, and I was up going into the Raiders game by 0.25. I only have the kicker left, and I went through a lot of emotions, like a lot of them. And my friend said maybe you should just not start your kicker, meaning I wouldn't have a kicker and I would automatically win the game because I'm up and they don't have anybody left. Or I can be like a gentleman and just play it out and see what happens. I took the latter half. I bench my kicker. I guarantee a victory, and I will defend my champion. So by any means necessary from here on out, I do not care. As long as I get the W, I'm gonna do the shit.
Man, I
So,
disagree
yeah.
with this fundamentally. What do you think? What do you think, Nate? Like, I feel like this is cheap. You got to play every position. Now, okay, listen, I get
You
it.
play to win the game. What else? What other answer would you expect from the Jets man on the squad? All right, you
fair.
play to win the game. If the rules
Wait,
of your
how do you know what
league
it's like to
will-
win a game?
Look, the thing is, not all of us, not all of us are fans of teams that have never been good. Okay, I can remember a time where there was some respect on my team's name, and I can remember a coach who was very serious about what it is to play out games in tough seasons. But if the rules of your league allow it, if you're not breaking any rules, you're not breaking any laws, you play the ball as it lies.
No, you telling me in this rare drop league that you in, if you have that situation that's going to win you the chip, you're not gonna do that?
No, because I'm too dumb to remember to do it.
Oh, okay. See, but if you did, if you know you're going into that Monday night game, and you can guarantee a victory by benching a kicker or even benching a player. Let's say you were up, you had a running back left.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too much a gentleman. Also, I'm a gambling man. Roll the dice. I drafted that kicker, or I picked them up to score the points for me. Go out there and do your job. It's not
You're
like
a
I gotta.
gambling
It's not.
man,
It's
right?
not like I have. It's not like I'm streaming kickers like the Panthers are in real life. So,
But you say you're a gambling man. So you're telling me you won't take a guarantee victory if you knew in blackjack you had the winning hand because somehow the dealers stumbled their cards and you saw what they had. You know you're going to win. You're not going to press the
That's
situation.
different than
You're
me
not gonna
going
take
head
it.
to
That
head.
would actually be cheating.
Yeah, that's different than me going to head with a friend.
Here's the thing. I didn't block him. I just didn't look at the messages after the game because I know he said good luck to me. He said good luck, and I wish you the best, and that was really nice of him.
And then you benched your
Maybe-
kicker like a coward.
I think maybe because I was watching Squid Games this weekend, and
He's on edge.
I was on edge. I didn't know, so I panicked. I didn't start him. I put my phone away. I walked away. I walked away from my phone because I knew I stole victory because I want to be back-to-back champion. I want that. That's why it was a heel turn. If you don't know what a heel turn is, it's a wrestling terminology. Is when you turn bad, and that's what happened to me. From here on out, I probably won't be looked the same in the league. But if I get the victory, I do not care.
Cool.
A win is a win.
Cool.
A win
And
is a win.
we're going to keep on recording, but the live stream has crashed. So with that being said, we're going to move on down to some people to talk about. We finally had a Robbie Anderson sighting in Carolina. He had 11 targets, didn't really do a ton. Still the number 2 coming out of Carolina. Too soon to say that we're going to start him or not? What do you guys say?
I did start him in the league where I won my game this week, and he may have only gotten me 9.9 points, but again, at least his ridiculous hairdo in the photo next to Tyreek Hill, who got me 47 points, looks kind of funny. So it brightens my day a little bit, but yeah, not getting quite the heat he was getting week 1, huh?
Yeah, none of that. Out of Cleveland, this is something I want to talk about. Kareem Hunt is outperforming fantasy-wise Nick Chubb this season. Now, if there's no chance that anyone really got both of them on their teams this year, right? Because they're both like, first 10 round picks right there, right? Like they're both up there. If you have Kareem Hunt, do you start him week in, week out with what he's done the first couple weeks of the season?
I don't like their situation in Cleveland. To be honest, I don't know who really to put on for fantasy wise because is spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So like you start Hunt, bet you money Chubbs is going to get $150 and 2 touchdowns. Or like who is Baker throwing into? I don't like when it's that good of an offense because fantasy wise, you don't know what is the play every week.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when it gets down towards the end of the season, I just don't know. I don't feel comfortable with anybody on the Browns team.
Cool. I get it.
Yeah.
And then the last person I want to talk on is Dawson Knox, the tight end out of Buffalo, who last season started the first, 3 weeks, was a top 10 fantasy tight end, then kind of got buried in that tight end by committee thing that Buffalo was doing last season. But now it looks like Dawson Knox kind of getting the lion's share of what's going on in that receiving game. Do you start him as a number 3 option in Buffalo? I say yes. I think Josh Allen's really kind of coming into his own with his tight ends, and I think this is the perfect time to start Dawson Knox.
You have a point. My only concern is that I'm like, when I think about the way that game went down and how much the ball got spread around, in a tighter, closer game, if they're up against some tough competition, I need to look at their schedule and double check that. But if you're up against a weak defense where they're going to put up points and bring everybody out, then I like it. If they're up against an elite defense, that's where I get a little more concerned that if the targets are going somewhere, it probably won't be as much to them.
Yeah, that's fair. And if you are, if you're wondering, I'm still buying low on Brandon Cooks out of Houston. He's still getting every target possible for that team. A good receiver on a bad team is still a good fantasy play. You just got to be wary of who they're playing and when they're playing them. Like if you got Brandon Cooks coming up against, like if they were to play like Tampa Bay, I would start him. Tampa Bay's defense is hurt, right? So buy low on Brandon Cooks if you can still get him. He's probably taken in most leagues. I actually didn't look up the percentage, but if you can get him, get him. But other than that, I'm gonna hop right into our Week 4 recap. Interesting week to say the least. Coming out of this week, we only have one undefeated team left, and it's not who you think it is. But we'll hop in first to talk about the Chargers beating the Raiders, which was, battle for the West, best of the West. What do we got, boys? What are we thinking? Are the Chargers and the Raiders still the real deal? Have the Raiders been proven to be mediocre? Where's your mind at with this division?
You want to start? You want to start this one?
Out of the 4 teams in that division, AFC West, I still believe in the Chiefs. I do. I don't know, and this is the 4th game of the season. This is early. If the Chargers have staying power, I know the Raiders are destined to go 8-8. That's just in my blood.
They can't do that anymore. It's 17 games in the season.
Okay,
they'll find a way.
8-9.
They'll find a way.
This man,
8-1.
Hold on. I just want to point out that he never gives them anyone the benefit of the doubt. You tell him there's 17 games, he's like, okay, add a loss to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think the Chargers might sneak in to a wild card. I still think the Chiefs, which been in this situation for the past few years, I think it's still the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, he kind of listened to them. He might have listened to our podcast because he woke up and he did his thing. So I don't know. I'm still thinking the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Man, it really is messy. I can totally see the Chargers winning this division just because of the level of competition between them is so good. But the Chiefs not winning their division with the roster that they have is no, I can't.
They're 2-2, and they just struggled against the Eagles. Let's be honest there. And they have some pretty ugly losses.
But good teams almost always find their stride at some point. And I don't think that 2-2 with how many games, especially with the extra game this year, I don't think it says enough. I think all it says is they've played a couple of the teams within their division, and they're all really good. But I expect them to keep racking up wins outside of it.
I can't believe y'all going to make me be the bad guy against my boy Pat Mahomes. But I don't see it in the Chiefs. I don't. Their defense does not look good. Their defense... I mean, look at they give 30 points to Jalen Hurts, just throwing it out there. And their offense is just struggling in that first quarter in every single game. Now I know you play 4 quarters, but there's gonna be games this season where they're down so much in that first quarter they can't come back from it, and I think that's gonna be a problem if they can't continue if they can't get back on track in the first quarter. I don't believe the Kansas City Chiefs this season. But it is Pat Mahomes, and you guys are right. They are stacked, and they have a good coach. Glad that Andy Reid's okay after a scare last week, by the way. I am worried about the Chiefs in the long run, but not as worried as I would be, say, with the 49ers or the Seahawks, right? Like, I think both those teams I'm a little bit more worried. Like, I'm more worried about the Seahawks, right? So, that being said, another best of the West fight, duking it out in Phoenix, Arizona. We have the Arizona Cardinals take on the LA Rams, battle of the unbeaten, and for the NFC West. And surprisingly, the Arizona Cardinals come up on top, 4-0. Now, Kyler Murray, potential MVP candidate, and the LA Rams looked a little human there.
Dude, Cardinals look so good. I love Kyler
They
Murray.
do.
I want it. Kyler Murray he's just a bright ball of sunshine. And I really don't care about the Cardinals, and I never have, but I want to see this guy keep being successful and doing well, because watching him play this week was so good. Great runs, great throws. Just I don't have any bad things to say about this Cardinals team. They look phenomenal, and I didn't really have anything bad to say about the Rams either. But if there's going to be a best team, then they're probably going to end up losing to them if it isn't them themselves, and that's where we are. So big ups for Kyler Murray, and a crazy performance by the Cards. It's a really good game.
I agree. Kyler Murray's fun to watch. He's like a smaller, faster, like mouse version of Cam Newton. And when Cam Newton was in his prime, and it is fun as heck to watch. And Cliff Kingsbury, as the offensive mind that he is having a blast right now. That man is having fun, and you're not allowed to have fun in football, but apparently when you do, you go 4-0.
I love the aggressive shots that Murray takes. He's fun. He's literally just fun to watch. I love the way he throws the ball. He has a big arm. He can make plays with his feet. And we're still not talking about the Cardinals defense. That is something that is going to, when Murray does have a bad game, they would pick him up. I like this team. I like Murray to be in the top 3 in the MVP race. And I think this is going to be something cool.
Yep. It's going to be fun. Well, that moves us on down the line to another undefeated team going into last week. Carolina visiting Dallas. I got a lot of things to say on this one, but I'm not going to. I'm mad about it. Forward progress, my butt. All right, listen, that was forward progress. It was a fumble. Anyway, so it looks like the Cowboys might be for real. Dak Prescott back on track, and Micah Parsons. Holy crap, what a fantastic first round pick for the Cowboys there.
Yeah, he's looked phenomenal. He's disgustingly good.
I'm not trying to be a Cowboy hater. I don't see this potential of being like a Super Bowl contender. People are really jumping the gun. Jeez, calm. We all know Dak can play like this. Dak can ball out. I don't trust the defense. Just right before we went live, I showed you, Nell, that the Cowboys released Jalen Smith, and that was their starting middle linebacker. I don't know what they're going from there, but it's just so early. It might be me. I might just be hating because my team's been on bye for the last 2 weeks. I love Dak. Don't get me wrong. Dak is going to put up crazy numbers. The Cowboys is another team that always find their way to 8-8 or 8-9.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean,
I agree.
I'm not trying to be a bitter Panthers fan right now, but had the officials called that play right, where I can't remember the tight ends, it was the textbook tackle of tackles, and as soon as he got hit by Jeremy Chin, that ball was out, and they called forward progress, no fumble. And if that had not, and even the officials after the game were like, yeah, we made the wrong call. The officials on TV were like, yeah, that's the wrong call. I was like, that would have been a momentum stopper. So I'm not sold because of that, but also I'm bitter. And I'm not trying to be a bitter fan because the Panthers also put themselves in the hole with a lot of penalties. They didn't look as good as they could. And Sam Darnold made some mistakes. But if we're going to keep talking about Sam Darnold, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that Sam Darnold is the leader of rushing touchdowns in the NFL right now. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns on the season. 6? 5.
I'm not surprised.
I mean,
no CMC. Sammy runs it. Sammy's running in against. He's running 30 yards from outside the end zone. Okay, that's what he does. He's so good on his feet. He sheds tackles. He runs like I don't know. I actually love to see it because he's on a team that has enough threats that they can't put a spy on him or anything. And he loves to take off. He did that a ton on the Jets. You'd oftentimes see a linebacker or someone posted up with their eyes on him. So that's honestly, it's hilarious and it's awesome because that's one of the best parts about having Sam on your team. He's quick. He's weirdly quick for a stocky looking guy.
Yeah. I mean, for real. And I think, everyone talked about this offseason change of scenery. Is it going to do Sam Darnold any good? And I think through 4 games, we can all agree that Sam Darnold looks like a former first-round pick in Carolina. He's still making rookie mistakes. He's still making mistakes. He's still making some very bad interceptions and some very bad plays and decisions. But I think, I know, Anthony, you just kind of, you gave me the O whenever I said that, but like this is Sam Darnold getting away from Adam Gase and learning from a real offensive-minded coach in Joe Brady.
Pew, pew, shots fired. Pew, pew, pew. Jeez.
At who? Adam Gase.
At Adam Gase.
Are we worried about Adam Gase?
Both of y'all know what he's like.
People?
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Assistant coach at like a high school somewhere now. I read.
Yeah, it's wild. But I
thought it was a Pee Wee football league. My fault.
I don't like.
It could be Pee Wee. My bad.
Greg Olson and his play-by-play guy were talking about how this year the officiating, they're trying to do more to where they don't pull they don't reverse more calls on the field. And after watching some of the officiating from this game and from the rest of the weekend, like the tauntings this season, what happened in that game, like the officiating to me, and this is not bitter fan because I've watched good games with good teams that have had subpar officiating. And I mean, like, hands in the face mask not getting called. It's just been bad.
It's been terrible. I don't know. I saw the stats about how they broke there were like over 200 penalties in the first 2 weeks for both Sundays, which hadn't happened before. And I'm like, I feel like that kind of says everything. It's been all over the place and grossly excessive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What hasn't been obsessive is Jameis Winston's yardage this season. So with that being said, the Saints giving up a win to the winless Giants in overtime. I mean, let's just talk about it. Daniel Jones, those 402 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jameis Winston finally broke 200 yards. We can talk about that. Finally, barely, but he broke it. But didn't look great. Alvin Kamara tried to carry that team, didn't. OBS just crashed again. So, having a wonderful time. But let's continue talking about it. New York wins the game. What are we thinking for the Saints? We're now 2-2, and everything's just doesn't look like it's clicking for New Orleans.
They're trying to get everything in, like, you're coming from Drew Brees, who led that team for a decade, and they had a system in place and everything was good. And you're going to Jameis, and Jameis is a little bit different. More of a, I'm gonna wing it. He likes to press the matter down the field, and I think Sean Payton is trying to get that trust in that. Jameis didn't look totally bad. I mean, he didn't have the gaudy stats like Jones did. So, in my eyes, he is still in the MVP race.
Okay.
Man, that's just me.
Your eyes need to get checked out by an optometrist, but all right. What do we think, Nate?
It's again. I don't have a lot of great things to say about the Giants. I've got I'm not really a believer in Danny Dimes, and I do think that they've put an unreal amount of pressure on their running backs, particularly, Saquon, etc. I've done this rant a few times, but the level of mistakes that it takes for the Saints to give up that first win and for it to go to OT is, yeah. I don't know. I need to see more. I need to see more out of the Giants because I still don't know where to land on anybody on that team because it's very stressful to try and form an opinion about them and then watch them play the next week and do the opposite of whatever you thought, no matter how good or bad.
Yeah, but one team that's not really doing much of anything or making you think too much is the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
They make it easy.
So Davis Mills, first of all, broke the record for worst QBR of all time with like a 0.8.
Nice.
It was a historic.
What did he do?
It was a historically bad football game. And so, okay, the Bills blow out the Texans 40-0. And this is just one of those things. It's like, yes, the Bills are the real deal. Okay, like let's get that out of the way. But Davis Mills was 11 for 21 with 87 yards and 4 interceptions. He had a 0.8 QBR. What did the Texans do?
Look, if you're Davis Mills, you're just happy that you're getting paid an NFL salary to fill a spot while the team figures out what they're doing, Like, I look at the stats, and all I can think is millionaire. He's a millionaire. It's okay. He's going to be okay. He's making millions of dollars. He's still going to be okay. I feel bad for.
But he's not. He's a third-round pick. He's not making millions. He's making hundreds of thousands.
Well, you know what? Then, okay. Well, at least he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars. he's just filling the roster spot, keeping everything together. If anything, they need to come up with a new award to give this guy to be like, thank you for being the punching bag for this organization that has fallen apart so completely in 2 or 3 seasons now, and for letting yourself get sacked over and over for the third-round pick salary. Because I couldn't judge anybody for being put in a situation like that, but obviously he's not the guy.
Yeah.
15 years, 20 years later, when he is coaching a high school football team, he will tell his team, look, I overcame adversity. Have you ever threw 4 picks in a game? Well, I have twice. Probably 3 times after the end of this season. And you know what? I never quit.
Hey.
They just cut me.
Do you think he comes up and he's like, hey, by the way, that game also had the record for worst QBR of all time?
There you go. Yeah. But that's not how you frame it, though. You say, ladies and gentlemen, I set an NFL all-time record. And that you stop.
Yeah, you stop. You walk away. You leave
what
the
record?
room.
You just leave.
What record? Oh, it's a quarterback rating record. Damn, that's awesome. On the Texans? You did better than Watson? No. We don't have to talk about it.
No.
Look, I'm in the record book. How many coaches around this high school district is in the record books? I am. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. And just leave. Just walk out the locker room.
Just walk out.
Confuse the hell out of your team.
It's okay. His offensive coordinator is going to be Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, Adam Gase is a special team coach.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, let me out. Let me out.
Like, Houston's just historically bad. Now, I do think that they would have been maybe a little bit more in this had Tyrod Taylor played, had he not been hurt. Tyrod Taylor makes this team a lot more competitive. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they have talent. They have Mark Ingram. They have David Johnson. They have Philip Lindsay and Rex Burkhead. Like, they have running backs there. They have Brandon Cooks. Let's talk about it. Like, they got John Aiken. They have people. But for some reason, they can't find a quarterback that can pull his head out of that dark area on his rear end and throw the ball to the same colored jerseys.
I heard Uncle Rico can throw the ball past the mountains over there. They might want to give him a call because they need something.
I'm just saying, Killer Cam Newton's still available. Still available.
Who wants to go there?
Is he going to want to learn your playbook, right? Wasn't that the whole reason? Like, you need somebody else. Somebody else has to be on the table.
Mac Jones had to teach him the playbook. Yeah. Anywho, But with the Bills winning, there is a note here that what is it? What is this? The Jets and Giants both get their first win, and it's the first time since 2015 that all 3 New York teams won in the same week. Don't get used to it.
Take a picture of that.
No. Take a picture, enjoy it, and enjoy that every person in the world who thinks they're funny will tell you that only one team in New York won this week. There you go. Said it for you.
It already happened in chat.
There we are.
Yeah. How the Jets won, though, is completely beyond me. Let's be honest, Ryan Tannehill kind of balled out. Like, he had a good game. Derrick Henry had 157 yards. But Zach Wilson, for the first time in his career, looked like an NFL quarterback. He was only sacked one time. He only threw 1 pick. That puts him at, I think, 7 on the year. Maybe 8. But the Jets look good. Corey Davis looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, story of the game, Corey Davis at the start had a drop, had slipped on a route. That's where the pick happened. It was a quick slant. He hit him right on the turn, but he slipped, and the defensive back did not slip. So after that, looked really good. Offensive line came together, and I think my fun stat from the game, the young defense just showed up. The passing game wasn't really open, obviously. You missing Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. But I think the key to success for the team was that Derrick Henry didn't break off many big runs, had I think 2 runs that were over 10 yards. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there were tons of pressure. But I think my fun stat for the week was that Quincy Williams, who I think was released off of Jacksonville or something, he's Quinnen Williams' brother, and he actually started and played this game because we've had some players that have gotten injured. Mm-hmm. Him and his brother both got sacks on Ryan Tannehill, which apparently has never happened in the NFL. 2 brothers both getting sacks on the same team in one game. So that was cool. They brought a lot of pressure. It did come down to a missed field goal because otherwise this game would have been a tie. But a win is a win. And yeah, Zach Wilson, I mean, the highlights speak for themselves. Guy clearly has a cannon. We never had that in question. But yeah, some beautiful throws.
This man was so excited just now to talk about the Jets winning.
You better believe it.
A couple other quick hitters.
How often do I have good things to say?
Not very. Couple other quick hitters from around the league. The Browns beat the Vikings 14-7. It was terrible. It was just bad. What we're going to get to it in a little bit. Trey Lance saw his first action in a loss against the Seahawks. Looked good, but not good enough. Ravens knocked the Broncos out of the unbeaten ranks 23-7. Teddy was hurt in the process. I think that might have been it. In other news, Big Ben is still a baked potato as the Packers beat the Steelers 27-17. But the actual game of the week, Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady. I mean, came down. Didn't really come down to anything. It was a defensive battle, not exactly what I thought we were going to get out of this game. But it was a bit of a chess match. So let's talk about it. Tom Brady kind of looked little like he was being rocked, like Belichick understood what he was doing, but also looked like he didn't need to make any mistakes, right?
That was really interesting to watch. You can tell that the press conferences leading up, he wasn't phased about going back to New England. But when he got into that stadium and the stadium was chanting his name, it was beautiful to watch. It was a chess match. Brady knew Belichick was going to come out with a look that was different from Brady's eyes. It was just a beautiful back and forth. He didn't play aggressive. He went for the win, not the stats. Belichick threw everything in the kitchen sink at him.
Yeah.
He was showing different zones. He was hiding the zone coverages and everything like that. Matt Jones did have some chances to win that game. So it really wasn't like a takeaway, like a getaway for the Bucs and whatnot. It was a lot of emotions. I think emotions took over for Brady and Belichick. Yeah. So it was really, really good to watch.
Wow, it was a great game. I was really just unbelievably impressive performance by the Pats, and I obviously hate all their guts and want them to lose every game they ever play. But the fact that it was as close as it was, really a testament to the coaching staff and the team coming together. Because I really like the Bucks. I think they're way better. Honestly, I would have told you they're way better than the Pats going into this. Not a 2-point game at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, so let's talk about it. You guys obviously see the Patriots twice every year. Was this one of the better Patriots defensive performances we've seen in a long while? Like, this looked like vintage Bill Belichick.
Yeah, no, that's what made it so great. Like it was very weird to see like Tom Brady not be able to just march down the field every single drive and rip them to pieces. Because if you're feeling like you talk about what the team's weaknesses are and a little bit of a rebuild, you got the rookie quarterback, you're still figuring some things out since the change. Some of the big guys that were hurt, but they come in, they show up, and they look real good. And if they can play like this, maybe it's just a case of like they played up to their opponent because of all the hype, because of everything that went on. But if this can fire them up and inspire them for the rest of the season, I'm going to be very sad and disappointed and complaining here for the rest of our episodes.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. But yeah, so that's a recap of week 4 on the field. Let's talk about a couple things. As always, we'll give you a couple of injury updates. You hate to see it. Teddy Bridgewater, after starting the season as one of the best quarterbacks in the league, out with a concussion. May that be the factor that caused Denver to lose? We won't really know. But San Francisco taking 2 hits on their scoring side of things, with Robbie Gould, their kicker, going down with a hamstring injury, and then made of glass Jimmy Garoppolo going down with a calf injury, which we got to see Trey Lance come in. And then Jabril Peppers down with a hammy injury as well. Some of the bigger names that we saw. So let's talk about San Francisco real quick. You lose your kicker and you lose your quarterback, and let's be honest, Robbie Gould is one of the better kickers in the league, if not the top five kicker in the league. We've seen it with teams like Carolina and Houston that if you don't have a great kicker, you can really struggle to win. Especially if you're missing extra points. How do you move forward with a kicker like Robbie Gould going down? What do you do? How do you even replace someone like that?
That's the hard part of the 2 big injuries anyway. At absolute worst, you did draft a quarterback. You have somebody there that your organization clearly has faith in, that you believe in. And if he does his job well enough, hopefully Robbie Gould being out isn't going to have the most terrible impact on the team. But it's like if any good player that has a lock like that is out, you just hate to see it.
Yeah. I agree with that. So yeah, you're right though. I wonder if we're going to see San Francisco lose by 1 or 3 points a few times while Robbie's out. I hope not, but we'll see. So moving on to kind of some of our top storylines of the season. The fall of Big Ben.
Bless you.
Yeah, sorry, baked potato. Big Ben, I used to love this guy, and I used to love watching Big Ben. But this gentleman is a shell of what he used to be. He easily used to be top 5 quarterback in the league. And now he looks like a geriatric man in between dialysis sessions, going out there and getting his butt kicked. So is this the fall of Big Ben? Is this it? We have seen, is this going to tarnish his legacy too? So double question.
Go ahead.
You go.
It's a really bad mixture of his decline and the offensive line not helping out the old man. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time in the pocket. He doesn't have mobility. We know that. So he's not getting into the target. It's really sad to watch. It's like, it's time for him to hit the old dusty trail, and we're just watching it happen like week by week.
Nate?
Yeah, you ask, is he falling? And I say no, because he's already fallen. We've been here for a little bit, I think. And if I had to try and come up with a good reason for why, all I could say is the guy just doesn't have anything else that he's interested in doing. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna play football until they just actually tell me that they don't want me anymore, because this is the only thing that I care about. And if that's where his mindset is, it's great for him. He's trying to keep doing something he loves well past his expiration date. But if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm just every week I'm just like, please, 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 please look at something else. Draft somebody if you want him to keep playing, but don't pretend like don't pretend like he's not past his expiration date.
Yeah, I think he should have retired 2 years ago. But the thing is he stays around because I don't think he believes that Pittsburgh's better off without him. They don't have anyone waiting in the wings for him to replace him. They should have drafted someone 2 years ago. But, I mean, that also, I think that we can question Mike Tomlin's coaching abilities and scouting abilities because, Mike Tomlin's got a heavy hand in who they draft in the GM duties of the team. So, I mean, this may also be a sign of Mike Tomlin's era at Pittsburgh coming to an end. I don't know. We'll see. He's a longer-term coach, and they tend to give him a little bit more leeway. But, I mean, you're staring down the barrel of Big Ben's at the end of Big Ben's career, and you have no one to replace him. You don't have the best cap situation either. So a free agent quarterback's probably not your route next season. Maybe you gotta draft a quarterback. And you gotta pray that you at 1-3 in week 4 make it towards the top of the draft board. And someone's good there. Who are you gonna get? Spencer Rattler out of Oklahoma, probably going number 1 overall. You better start tanking. So
yeah, they are.
Say Ben's doing that for them, so
they're doing a good job at that.
What happens when you're a baked potato? Anywho, the Cardinals undefeated. We talked about this a little bit. We've talked about Kyler Murray, I think, every single week of this season, and it's warranted. Is Kyler Murray the favorite for the MVP right now? And Anthony, I know you want to say Jameis right now, but like seriously. Okay. If it went up for a vote, is Kyler Murray the favorite besides Jameis?
Man, this is really tough for me. You're really discrediting Jameis, but if I had to go right now with a MVP, it would be Dak over Kyler, and that would be a very close thing. But real quick, let's get back to the main topic at hand. I don't know why everybody's disrespecting Jameis. Okay, I don't understand. I've been trying to compose myself. I honestly think he will bounce back. But right now, realistically, Dak is balling out. I love the way Dak is playing. The team is in the top of the division. Kyler's there as well. But for me, just a quick reaction, it'll be Dak.
Okay. What do you think, Nate? You agree with that? Or are you going with Kyler? What about Justin Herbert too?
I mean, look, Dak is going to be fighting with Sam Darnold for comeback player of the year, okay? That's the way that's going to go. MVP, nobody else is 4-0. Nobody's looks as good. Nobody has I think the level of admiration just from general people. Again, I don't care about the Cardinals. And I will watch their games if I can watch Kyler Murray. And if he ever leaves, I won't watch them because he's just that good. Yeah, I think he's clearly in the front.
Now, would you put Sam Darnold in that conversation as well as Teddy Bridgewater had he not gotten hurt? Are they in that conversation for MVP right now?
For MVP, probably not. I think you have to show
2 3-1 teams.
Yeah, no, for sure. I completely get where you're coming from. I just think that the storyline is a bit different for where the team's overall trajectory is headed at this point.
Cool. And then a name we're not mentioning, Matt Stafford. Always going to be up there stat-wise. They're 3-1. They just lost to Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Does that take him out? If the season was to end right now, is he in consideration for that MVP award? I mean, he's balling out like he's never balled out before.
I mean, he 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1,200 yards passing, 76 QBR rating. How can you not put him in there? He's playing lights out. I think it sucks because he's in the West Coast, and especially me being on the East Coast, I don't really able to catch all of the games. He got the 4:00 games over there, and I like Stafford. I think they're going to lean Kyler Murray right now, but it's so early in the year. Very, very early.
Okay.
Jameis. Yeah.
you're fired.
They're 500 team. They're 500.
I brought him up. Justin Herbert. Can we talk about Justin Herbert right now? This is a quarterback that coming out of Oregon last year, all the pundits, all the analysts, all the draft day experts that somehow have never had a job drafting players in the NFL, all said that Justin Herbert used his leg too much. He was inaccurate. Didn't have the arm strength. You name it, he was faulted for it. Now, Justin Herbert this season playing like what looks like a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Where you guys stand with Justin Herbert in this league in terms of a quarterback? Is he someone that you would put your money behind on your franchise?
Yeah. I think he's the real deal. He's also an electric player to watch. I think he completely turned that team around. You can have all the talent in the world, but if the guy in the quarterback position can't, do his thing, you're not going to win games. And he's a phenomenal player. I love watching him, and I think he is that guy for sure. If I was a Chargers fan, I'd be getting ready for some good, happy years ahead of me.
Yeah,
he is what the Jaguars hope Trevor Lawrence becomes. He is exactly what he is, and I blame Herbert because Herbert is going to make Miami trade for Deshaun Watson. I blame Herbert because we could have had him, but we went with Tua. If y'all remember the draft, Herbert went right after Tua. We could have had him. So now we're going to be trading for Deshaun Watson, which
and you're not going to have a draft pick for the next 7 years.
In fact, we're not. We're going to trade every first round draft pick and everybody else's picks to get him. So, yeah, that man, he can ball. He got an arm. I'm going to go back to the Jets real quick. Regardless of how y'all playing, he's playing Zach Wilson. That man can throw. And you cannot teach arm strength. You cannot teach a gunslinger. Like, I am a big fan of him. I love the way he throws the ball. I got some good stuff for him. I like him. I do.
Cool.
Sorry, I had to get back on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The last storyline, let's talk about Daniel Jones for a second. Daniel Jones, we talked about this, been overly criticized. The entire Giants franchise, the weight of that franchise has been placed on his shoulder. Year in, year out. 2 years in now, right? Didn't have a lot of hype coming around him coming out of college into the NFL. Gets drafted by the Giants to be the successor to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Eli Manning. And what a lofty goal to live up to. But let's talk about this. Through 4 weeks this season, Daniel Jones has the second highest passing grade through 4 weeks in the NFL. He's got a career high 402 yards against New Orleans this past week with 2 pass and touch TDs. Now 4 weeks, he's only got 4 TDs. He's got an interception and a fumble, but let's talk about that. It's a bit of a change for Daniel Jones. I know one of you ain't completely sold on him, but do you think this is a product of coaching, not enough talent around him, offensive line's trash? The boy can run, he can throw. Would you consider him the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants?
Nate?
I have to go first. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the turnovers are unreal. Based on previous seasons, I would unequivocally say no, 0%, absolutely not.
What if I say
I'm not that impressed?
What if I interject
this year
with turnovers? Let's go back to how many turnovers Matthew Stafford has thrown his entire career, and he's a franchise quarterback.
Well, I mean, people can turn the ball over. Like, it happens to everybody on some level to a degree. But, I mean, Daniel Jones had it a little bit worse than some others, especially, there's a difference between I'm a gunslinger who throws picks and I'm a quarterback who fumbles the ball if I try to run or if I get sacked or if somebody comes too close to me and I get scared. Because obviously, he can make the passes. That I don't think that they have any ludicrous other talent on that offense that he's really working with outside of Saquon, but the yardage is still good. The touchdown count isn't super high. They're not really winning games. So, these stats look good, but they're 1-3, and this isn't his first year. This isn't his second year. This isn't like the excuse year where you look at it and be like, yeah, in 3 or 4 more years when Daniel Jones is pushing 30, then we'll start asking questions about whether or not we think he can be the franchise quarterback. And I'm like, no, I don't think that that's going to be the case. So, I still look for some more flashiness on the arm side from him. But again, I also think that the entire Giants organization is in a bit of a weird spot. So maybe he needs different scenery. Maybe he just needs different coaching. But the team is still 1-3 off an OT win. You know, much like the Jets, I'm going to say it was like a field goal that won them it. It's very, very, very thin lines that we're playing with for what constitutes the one win these teams have.
I think his career path is starting to remind me of Eli. I mean, Eli wasn't flashy coming out of college. I know he forced his way to New York. I see Daniel Jones winning a Super Bowl with the Giants. I think they're gonna find a way to get a really crazy defense, and that defense is going to probably carry him there. I like the build. He can run. That man got wheels. He does. Now, will he trip? Yes. Will it be funny? Yes. But he'll get back up. He'll keep going. I think right now New York. I think the coaching definitely got to go.
Joe Judge is a joke. Holy moly! It's like the second coming of Adam Gase.
Yeah. My skin crawls.
All right. With that being said, let's talk about some rookies. Kind of becoming a staple is looking back on some of the rookies and how they did this past week. We finally got to see Trey Lance in extended action in San Francisco. Came in relief of an injured Jimmy G. He went 9 of 18, so threw 50%, which for the rookies this season's about on par. So I'm not going to judge him too harshly for a lower completion percentage. But 157 yards with two touchdowns. So no picks, only sacked once. And then he ran the ball 7 times for 41 yards. So this kid came out and balled, but his defense could not stop Seattle from scoring 28 points, specifically 14 points in the third quarter. Trey Lance looks good. What do you guys think?
Yeah. This is just a sample size. I think he's starting this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see. It's kind of like what the guy out of Chicago when he started. It wasn't like that spectacular. I think there's more weapons around Trey Lance in San Francisco. I just want to see him start a full game. I want to see him from like start to finish to see what happens. It's kind of hard to coach like Seattle to coach a rookie quarterback who comes in halfway through. So this full week, the team will have a film to watch, and I want to see how he comes out.
Okay.
Hard agree. I just want to see him play a full game because we've had this happen with the other guys that have had to fill in.
Yeah. I agree. I think he looks good. He made some very good reads on that field. You could see he was not thinking with his feet, which is what a lot of people thought he was going to do. That was like one of his biggest detriments is that people thought he thought with his feet too much, a little bit too much of Cam. It's if the first lane isn't open, you take off and run because that's all you can do. But it looked like Trey took his time, looked around the field, and then he did run the ball 7 times, so he did take advantage of the fact that he could run. So I think I'm with you. I'm with both of you, right? Like I am with y'all. I want to see him start a game and see how he plays that entire game. Then we're on to not living up to the hype, Trevor Lawrence. So if we kind of just get down to it, Trevor Lawrence, an unimpressive game. 200 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. All eyes are on Jacksonville, and it's not because of Trevor Lawrence right now. It's because of Urban Meyer. Holy guacamole, what an actual, I'm just going to say it, shit show. That's becoming. And frankly, I just don't even know what to do about it at this point, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that's come out from over there, the situation with the coaching. Honestly, I thought it was bad before the other stuff started coming in after the game. But that's just one of those things where you look at Trevor Lawrence and you feel bad for him because maybe things would be different if they had any other person with NFL coaching experience or just somebody that wasn't going to draw as much attention to themselves on the team. but he's now stuck with the reality that this season is going to be messy until whatever happens, and whenever that happens, it's still going to be hard to get around or deal with if they end up changing staff. So it sucks, but if you're a Jacksonville fan or a Trevor Lawrence believer, I guess the bare minimum is hope for next year, I guess, because I don't think the drama's going away anytime soon. Even if they do fire him, it's going to be the whole conversation subject for the rest of the season, no matter what they do, and honestly into next season too.
Yeah. I mean, and with that, I mean, is Urban Meyer on his way out? Like, let's talk about this for real. I think Urban Meyer should have. We talked about this last week. He should have left for USC last week, and now this happens. If he had left for USC last week, this wouldn't be happening right now.
You telling me that he couldn't get back on the plane with his team? He wanted to stay back and meet up with some friends.
His grandkids, right? Grandkids or nieces or nephews or someone. And then he was at dinner, and someone wanted to dance with him.
Yes, they did. They did.
And they did dance with him.
Very. It's like you coach. You tell your team to be responsible, to do the right thing. Cameras are always going to be on you. You coach that. You tell them that during the off season. They go through training programs about how people can always get you on social media, and you got to be careful. And he did this, the complete opposite. I just cut ties, let him go, and let's start to focus back on Trevor Lawrence and his development and growth. Like, you tried the Tebow experience. That was another media circus. So much going on in Jacksonville for a team that hasn't won a game yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see. And then another person we've been tracking all season long, Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney finally had his breakout game with 6 catches for 78 yards in the Giants' overtime win against Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints. Remind you guys of that Kadarius Toney and the New York Giants beat Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints for the Giants' first win. Just want to make sure I really kind of drive home that the Giants got their first win against Jameis Winston and the Saints.
I'm trying not to bring up Jameis. I'm trying not to. But you know what? He didn't throw a pick. He threw over 200-plus yards. So technically, he is still in the MVP race. This is early in the season. See, I wasn't going to do this. I don't know why. I was going to be calm. It was going to be a good Tuesday. You bring up Jameis. That's okay.
Anywho, Kadarius Toney finally looked good. I don't know if you guys watched any of the highlights of Kadarius Toney, but he was out there. He was out there for plays. Like, Joe Judge was like, hey, actually go onto the field this time. I don't know. Maybe if we put our first-round draft pick on the field, he'll catch the ball. Surprise, surprise, guess what happened? He caught the ball. It's amazing how that works.
Beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. It's like I could be a head coach of the New York Giants. Something. Shoot, I'd be better than Joe Judge. Ship it. Clip it.
Let's go.
I'd
okay to watch that.
I'd say clip it, but OBS died again, so you can't watch this live right now. But with that, let's move on to Mac Jones. Mac Jones is still an interesting case to me because I'm not sold on him. And I'm not sure we can believe the hype after this week because let's be honest, the Bucs are now missing all but 2 of their starters from the first game of the season on defense. They are hurt, and they are getting dragged around on defense. But, I mean, does that matter? Like, he had 2 picks that were called back. He only looked comfortable throwing the ball from shotgun. Like, there's some worries there, right?
I mean, I think he'll be fine. He got Belichick as his coach.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I see the Patriots winning a decent amount of, like, as I was saying earlier, I see the Patriots winning a decent amount of games this year if the only thing that Mac Jones does is if their defense can play up to that level like they did against Tampa Bay, then Mac Jones can be a bit of a game manager. I mean, the accuracy seems there. He has plenty of pieces around him. He's not struggling to keep his head above water over there. And I think, again, out of all the rookie quarterbacks this year, he had to be the one going into the best possible situation.
Yep. I agree. All right, and with that, we're getting into Week 5's look ahead. All right, first thing I want to say, we talked about it earlier. The Chiefs have to start a winning streak. So let's look ahead to next week. The Chiefs, they have to, next week, start a winning streak. Now, is that going to be difficult? Because they do look like they are hurt, and not like physically hurt, but they look out of it. And they're going up against a 3-1 Bills who just absolutely kicked the ever-living crap out of the Texans. Now, I know the Texans aren't on the same level as the Chiefs. What happens if Kansas City next week goes down 2-3?
Oof. Especially if they
Very
get blown
realistic.
out. Yeah.
That's scary. The division's really hard. The schedule doesn't really get tremendously easier down the line. The
They're
level of
not beating the
competition in
Chargers.
general,
Yeah.
the level of competition in general has gone up a ton, and who knows? Like down the line, looking at the schedule,
They're not beating the Chargers this season. I'm not convinced that the Chiefs are beating the Chargers. So let's just count that out as 2 losses. So if they play the Chargers in back-to-back weeks and they lose to the Bills, that puts them at 2-5. And then you look at the rest of the division that they're in. Those are some hard wins that they're going to have to pull out. And next week makes or breaks the Chiefs. Calling it right here for me. If the Chiefs do not win this week, they miss the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, missed the playoffs?
I don't know about. I don't know if I would be willing to count them out just by virtue of the pedigree of the team, but the Chiefs situation to me feels like they were a couple years ahead of everybody else. Mahomes, the gunslinging, running around, a lot of the outside plays, those sidearm throws. And there were a lot of teams in their division and in the AFC and the NFC that had picked up young players, young quarterbacks that hadn't really gotten there yet. But, normally you rewind the clock a year or two, Chiefs versus Bills. Yeah, of course the Chiefs are going to win. There's a huge gap there. Now, Bills have caught up. They're competitive. You still have teams and I don't know. I mean, I still got a huge question mark because they're going to end up playing the Giants down the line too. I'm like, I don't know. Are all these teams going to keep gaining steam that have been a little bit more slow to start than Mahomes? And the league is a way more competitive place than when these guys were tearing it up and running straight to the Super Bowl.
I agree. So that gets us into it. So this is one of our games of the week. This is one of the games that we've selected as a must-watch game, which means we'll cover some of the lines on these next 4 games that we'll talk about. Chiefs versus the Bills. Chiefs, they're playing at Arrowhead in Kansas City Sunday night. Chiefs -2.5. -2.5. Chiefs a favorite against a Bills team that, except for one game, has looked unstoppable. I'm taking the Bills. I think the Bills win it.
Yeah, with how Josh Allen's playing, I think you have to take the Bills. I don't know. I don't think their defense is weak enough that you're going to be seeing Mahomes finding easy, deep bombs to everybody this time around. Not against this team.
I got the Chiefs winning by 10. I think this is going to be the rattle game for Josh Allen. I think the Arrowhead the stadium will show up, and I think we're going to see a exposure of Josh Allen.
Okay. You heard it here first, y'all.
Yeah.
On the subject of young quarterbacks, we have the Giants versus the Cowboys. This is another game to watch. Giants versus Cowboys, doesn't matter what the record is always a fun game to watch, and you never know who's going to win. You never know who's going to win.
Do you, though?
You don't. You don't. The Cowboys could be undefeated, and the Giants would roll up with 0 wins and be like, cool, so let's take it to overtime. What do you say? But we got the Cowboys -7. I think that's a little too rich for my blood. This is this is a field goal game to me. I don't care how bad the Giants are. I think they keep it within a field goal here. Daniel Jones looked really good this past week against Jameis Winston and the Saints. And now you're talking about Cowboys who just got rid of their starting middle linebacker. And I think it's field goal. I'm taking the Giants.
That is Man, wow. That's all I have to say about that. I'm going Cowboys. I think, and again, I've got no respect for either of these teams, so I'm completely unbiased when I tell you that I simply think the Cowboys defense is going to be plenty, even with whatever hell happened with their linebacker situation. I feel confident in them. I think their offense is way more well-rounded, and yeah, maybe Danny Dimes gets exposed again.
I love that you call him Danny Dimes. This is my favorite thing in the world. Yeah. What do you think? Who you got? -7 Cowboys. Who you got?
I don't even know why this is up here. Yeah, Cowboys. I'm sorry.
Well, also, I should note that the over/under is at 52.
What?
Yeah.
Like what? Cowboys and score 45?
All right.
But then again, Cowboys do play down to their teams.
They
so
play down to
close.
the Giants level every single time they play. They do the same thing with the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. This is why I don't believe they're Super Bowl contenders. That's why I said earlier in the stream, I don't think they'll play down to them. It might be a field goal game. They might scrape out of there. And what? We them boys again? I can't. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll move on to a real game, I guess. Trey Lance in his first start for the 49ers versus the undefeated Cardinals. This is my game of the week. You got Trey Lance, probably one of the more hyped quarterbacks, one of the more scrutinized guys coming out of college. North Dakota State boy, who doesn't exactly have the best record. What's up, Carson Wentz, hurting both ankles in one game. But we got Trey Lance and the 49ers at 2-2 versus the undefeated Cardinals with good old Kyler Murray. Now, here's the wild part. This line opened at Arizona only -1.5. Like, what? It's at 5.5 now, in case you're wondering what the betting trends are.
What's over under?
The over-under is at 50.
No.
Yeah.
No. They're going to shoot it out. No. No.
If you're playing the money line, you
no.
got Arizona -242, by the way. I'm taking Arizona. I'm taking Arizona -1.5, Arizona -5.5. I'm taking the over, and I'm taking Arizona the money line -242. Like, I'm taking Arizona across the board. Whatever you give me, I'm taking Arizona.
Yes,
Yeah.
and yes.
100%.
Kyler Murray's anybody that tunes in to watch that game, just gonna have a fun time watching Kyler Murray.
I'm not even picking
Period.
them because of Kyler Murray. That Arizona defense is about to destroy Trey Lance and his entire personality and his brain, and whoever he is on the inside as a football player is about to die. They have the best defense in the league. Best defensive front seven in the league. And Chandler Jones is about to show Trey Lance what it's like to be in the NFL. And let me tell you, sir, it's not fun to be tackled by that man. Not that I know personally, but I watch a lot of football, so I think it looks bad. But with that being said, one of the last games we have on our list is the Browns versus the Chargers. So we got 2 3-1 teams, 2 young studs in Baker Mayfield versus Justin Herbert. This is going to be a close one, if you ask me. This is going to be a 1 to 3 point game, which apparently Vegas agrees with. Chargers -1.5, over under at 47. Who you got, boys?
Ooh, I am gonna go with the Browns, and I think this is not the last time we're going to see these teams this year. This is a playoff matchup written all over it. I think I just think the Browns. I like the defense a little bit more with Cleveland. I do.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's so hard to pick here. I do think the Browns' offensive assault is really deadly. I think it's going to carry them through with the run game. I love Justin Herbert, and he's so good, and that team looks so good. But having Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to rely on in a game that I think can get ugly quickly if you don't. Yeah, I got to take the Browns.
Yeah.
That is a game that if you're gonna watch anything this weekend, I 100% do not miss that one.
Hear me out. I'm making a parlay. I'm taking the Cardinals and the Browns both as pick'ems. because of
You're
three.
good.
Because well, one, the Cardinals are going to win. There's no doubt about that. But the Browns are going to win because of three letters. Who's back? It's OBJ. That man is back with a vengeance, and he looks so good and so ready to play at an MVP level. I think the Browns are going to come in and stomp the Chargers. They are going to take the Chargers back down a level, and then everyone's going to be like, oh, AFC West, what? Yeah, that's how it's going to be. I think the Browns just run away with this game.
I can
Think
see
it's gonna
that
be a good-
happening too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, plus, like, Justin Herbert's got to go up against Davian Clowney and Myles Garrett. He hasn't done that before. I'm kind of worried for his well-being. Scared for the kid. He might die.
Myles Garrett, it's
Yeah, I would.
Big
No
time.
matter how good quarterback you are, Myles Garrett is gonna put fear in you. Period.
correct.
That being said, that brings us to the end of our regularly programmed show here. That is week 4 of the regular season. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for joining us. If you haven't and you're not and you're listening to us, make sure you come and join us live when OBS is working at twitch.tv/RD Sports. You can follow them at Rare Drop Sports on Twitter. You can follow Anthony at Big Ant Gaming. You can follow Nate at Nathanius, and you can follow me at Nelstar15. And as always, if you have any questions about fantasy football, make sure to direct them our way on Twitter, and we will answer those next week on week 5 of the regular season. And as always, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you listening.
Thank you.